If you had told me 2 years ago that there would be no power cage in my gym or in my training regimen, I'd laugh at you, because the power cage just, you can do pretty much whatever you want, from row squat to box squats to attach bands to your training and do many different kinds styles of deadlifts. Now, since there's no squat rack in here or a power cage, like I mentioned in the previous videos, I'm gonna have to use the Smith machine. And I'm gonna show you today how I use it and how I switched this year to an actual box squat in the Smith machine. It sounds retarded, I know. It's heresy, I guess, but it works, and let's see how I do it. Now, small introduction on how I do the box squat. Being Westside certified, and also not just because of that, but it's saved my ass through the years. I place my shins 90 degrees perpendicular to the ground and beyond that. Now, what that means is I'm loading the posterior chain. Why do I say I load the posterior chain? Because you load it when you do a regular squat as well, but no. If you fall backwards, if you go that far backwards with an actual barbell, the weight is gonna pull you back and you're probably gonna fall on your ass. Now, this is what the box squat does. It breaks down the movement into two movements. Eccentric phase, the way down, concentric phase, the way up, where you're flexing, all your muscles are recruited, and you explode on the way up. And this is what I love about the box squat. It's allowed me to be able to train through many injuries, especially the spinal thing that I've mentioned before. Glutes, I had a sciatic pain after I herniated my disc in 2015, and it's been just brutal for me to just squat. And I did squat the whole year last year. It did go okay, but it was very painful. Like I had to do deep massage and foam rolling on my hips and glutes every week, and it's just not productive for me to be in pain constantly. My foot position is, I guess, 90 degrees. I prefer 90 degrees to maybe 85. I just stick them out maybe about an inch, and that's it. I don't want to go out too far because my hips are activating. I don't want that. I want to use them as I'm pressing down and out. That's how I'm gonna activate my hips. And I'm lucky that this bench is, from my height, it's about parallel, I guess. It's not too high, it's not too low. It's a good height for me. And so I want to have, for the box squat, I want to have my feet out further than my shoulders. I don't want them to be here. I do switch about every week. I do this as well, but I prefer it here and here because I squat wide. This is pretty much my raw sumo, my sumo squat stance, and that's what I want to enforce. But at the same time, once in a while, I will switch to this, then go out, and then out. I've made it to a point where I've put, I don't know, probably about 600 pounds, and I was like squatting really wide, and my feet are pushed out a lot. Like, look at this angle. That's not 90 degrees. It's probably 100 degrees. I can go even further out. I can still stand out because the hips are activating. That's it. It's as simple as that. But of course, this is exaggerated. I just want to show you how years of doing that movement forces and strengthens certain parts of your posterior chain. And so I'm gonna turn around and put the bar on my back. And I'm gonna show you how I do this on the fixed bar, because this is difficult. It forces me to push my feet out a little bit more, so I can't be here. I don't want to be here in a box squat, because all the stress goes in my knees. I already have enough surgeries on me. So I'm pretty much gonna stick to the same form, and I'm gonna do my box squats the same way. So I'm gonna start sitting up. I want the bar under my traps. I want a low bar, as low as I can, up to the point where the bar, slips off, of course, this machine. So I want it pretty low, and I'm gonna demonstrate how I set up. This is good enough, I think. So set up first. Push my feet out, like this. I didn't even look at my feet. It felt like it was perpendicular, about 90 degrees. If my heel is more backwards, then I feel the stress immediately on my knees. So I don't even need to look. I can kind of tell what angle my shins are. luckily enough, this is a big Smith machine. He has pretty sturdy spots where you can adjust the bar depending on the height that you need it. And I can use mini bands at times. I don't do it all the time, but I use my mini bands at times to add that extra tension. The bands do break over speed eccentrics. They are fantastic for speed training, and they do make you stronger. If there's anything that will make you much stronger, is the bands. The chains are good enough too, but we'll cover that in another video. So let's get to the set. Another safer way to attach the bands to the Smith machine is by putting them under the base of it and then hooking up to the bar. Now, this doesn't create as much tension, it's a bit softer. It still works though. I mean, if you have thicker bands, I don't have my thicker bands with me, I just have my mini bands. This also doesn't keep pulling as I'm sitting down. When I sit down, it just gets, loose. It's not terrible. I think the other way is just creates more tension. It's better, but it's not as safe because they might pop out. But this is a great way. And I also do deadlifts below the knee. I do like upper deadlift here, and I thread the band. I double thread it. I use the whole band twice, and I wrap it around the bar and under the base, and it creates a lot of tension. It's actually much harder than this here. As you can see, for that last heavier set, I brought the bar one click down. Ideally, it would be if it was between these two, because that's my height, that would be better. So I can, get under and do like a, very tiny squat before I start doing my squats. But it felt it was better. My personal problem, not having a squat rack or a power cage, is that I have to turn the bar as I'm unlocking the weight. I have to turn it, otherwise it hooks as you're going down. You don't want that to happen. And that puts a lot of strain on my wrists. That's why, if you notice in that last set, I wrapped my wrists. Aside from that, it's quite hard. It's not that easy. The bands add a lot of tension to it. I mean, that's definitely 45 pounds combined. And I'm gonna stop now. I did a few sets. I'm gonna move on to some leg exercises. Now, you probably didn't see that because of the angles, but what I do with my regular, my row squat in competition, and with this bar here, is I put my pinky under the bar. What this does to me, it allows me to push my elbows down better, activate my lats, and secure my thoracic spine as I'm pushing my chest up. This is very crucial to me, very important. I've been doing it for 5 years now. It just allows me for better motion. I mean, genetically, I'm not that flexible. I can hold a little closer, but it adds a lot of pain to my wrists and my shoulders, and I'm not interested in doing that. And this is the difference between the Smith machine bar and the regular power bar that they have here in length that I mentioned earlier. It's definitely more than a few inches in length. personally prefer the seated curl. Like I just showed you one set. I mean, I obviously do more sets, but it's, you don't need to have the whole regiment there. Just to demonstrate one exercise. This is a secondary to me, the one where you lay on your chest, because as you curl up, right here is a resting point. Because, obviously gravity wants to pull you down a straight line, and what this does is it rests the weight on your knees in a way, right? It's kind of like cheating in a way. So what I like to do in the seated curl over there, you're forced to curl, and if you stop obviously flexing glutes and hamstrings, the weight just doesn't swing backwards. Here, you can cheat. There's a bit of a resting point. It's an okay exercise because it stretches the glutes a little bit more. I prefer the seated one. It's just to me at least, it works better. It seems harder to me than this one here because it has that little swing here as it rests when your shins are, perpendicular. Now, in the quadriceps, in the quad extensions machine, I want to stretch my legs back as far as they go. Like this is a good angle. Probably, I couldn't go further because of my calves. But I want to go as far back as I can so I can give that stretch to my quads. I don't want it to be here because that's, obviously, you're not doing a full stretch. You're not feeding the muscle throughout its length. The blood, it doesn't concentrate that way. So I want to go back all the way. Add a little weight to it because there's no weight on it. And do my repetitions. That stretch, I feel it immediately as it goes back. Even the weight's not that heavy, I can feel the stretch from the beginning to the end of the muscle. So as you saw in the end, I finished up with pull-throughs and I did some obliques today. I like to rotate that pretty much every week. The pull-throughs are a hard exercise for me because I have the spinal issues and it kind of hurts a little bit. It's like me, doing repetitions for a conventional deadlift. In a way, it's not the same exact movement, but my back gets very sore. So I like to throw them in there once in a while. It's a fantastic exercise for posterior chain. Strengthening the posterior chain is just an amazing exercise. I did my obliques today. The obliques are also stabilizers for your abdominals. It's not just your abs. You also need to have your obliques as strong. I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel. Find me on Instagram on Terry Strength Coach and on Facebook at Optimum Strength and Fitness Development.